Hello, I'm Rajan Datar, and coming up after the news on the forum. It's an invention that kick-started one of the most important revolutions in the history of civilization. It transformed education, literacy and religion, and it empowered generations from the 15th century onwards. In fact, if you look around you right now, I'll bet you can see an example of its influence, from the text on your smartphone to newspapers to plain old food packaging. Yes, the invention we're exploring today is the printing press, and it's a fascinating story. Its creation enabled the union of commerce and craft on a scale never seen before, and it shaped our world as we know it today. I'll be joined by 4 experts on the printing press story: art historian Hala Auji, writer John Mann, publisher Michael Busker, and the book trade scholar Christina Dondi. So, hot off the press, it's the forum, coming up after the news.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The Ethiopian military has warned residents of Mekele, the capital of the Tigray region, to expect artillery fire as it tries to overthrow the governing party there. The federal government has demanded that TPLF surrender. It has barred African Union envoys from visiting the region. Here's our Africa regional editor, Will Ross.
An Ethiopian military spokesman told state media the army planned to encircle the city of Mekele with tanks. What Colonel Dejene Tsegai said next was chilling.
We want
to send a message to the public to save themselves from any artillery attacks and free themselves from the junta in charge. After that, there will be no mercy.
The Tigray officials, who the government's trying to overthrow, are sounding defiant. They say the city of over 500,000 people can't be encircled. It feels as though this war could be devastating for the people stuck between 2 very well-armed military forces.
The Australian state of New South Wales has reopened its border with neighbouring Victoria after more than 4 months. It was closed in July to stop the coronavirus spreading. It's seen as a significant step closer to normal life, especially for the state of Victoria, which enforced one of the world's strictest and longest lockdowns. The state premier, Daniel Andrews, outlined the measures that would still be in force.
Outdoor gatherings in public spaces, such as the beach or a park, will increase to 50 people. We're making a fundamental change. Masks will be required inside, in all settings inside. They will not be required when you are outside. We've defeated this second wave, but it's not gone. It is not over. We all need to play our part.
The funeral has taken place in Belgrade of the head of the Serbian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Irene, amid coronavirus precautions. The service, attended by President Alexander Vučić, was broadcast live and relayed to giant screens outside St Sava's Cathedral. The Patriarch died on Friday. It's thought he contracted COVID-19 at the funeral of Montenegro's senior religious leader, where mourners were encouraged to kiss the dead bishop's hands or head. Tens of thousands of opposition supporters in Belarus have turned out for the 15th Sunday in a row to call on President Alexander Lukashenko to step down. Mobile phone links were disrupted at times to hamper efforts to coordinate the protest. Activists maintained their recent tactic of organising smaller groups in a large number of sites to make it more difficult for police to stop them. The human rights group Vyazna published the names of nearly 130 people arrested. World News from the BBC. At least 14 pro-Iranian fighters are reported to have been killed in airstrikes in eastern Syria. The British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said it suspected Israel was behind the overnight attacks. Israel hasn't commented, but has struck many times before at targets in Syria linked to Iran. The Iranians have backed the Syrian government in the country's civil war. A Pakistani opposition movement has gone ahead with a high-profile anti-government rally in Peshawar, despite opposition from the authorities. The alliance brings together 11 parties, including the Pakistan People's Party and Nawaz Sharif's PMLN. Our South Asia editor is Jill McGivering.
Local officials refused to give permission for this rally, saying they were concerned about the risk of a large crowd spreading the coronavirus. The Prime Minister, Imran Khan, went further, accusing the organisers of, in his words, callously destroying people's lives and livelihoods by going ahead. but the alliance seems determined to keep up pressure on his government. This is their fourth rally in just over a month, one in each province. They accuse the government of trying to influence the judiciary, of mishandling the economy, and of being too close to the country's powerful military.
An outbreak of a highly virulent strain of bird flu has prompted the Dutch authorities to cull 190,000 chickens. It's not signalled any risk to human health. Migratory wildfowl from Russia have been blamed for bringing in the disease. Conservatives in Spain have driven in convoy through several cities in protest at education reforms that the left-wing government says will combat elitism. The protesters say they've collected more than 1.5 million signatures against the reform. They say the bill going through Parliament will reduce parental influence in schools and suppress religious education. They also say it could stop teachers in the regions from using Spanish to teach their classes, which the government denies. BBC News.